Hey everybody, and welcome to Outdoor Adventures. I'm Frozen, and thanks for joining me. In the spirit of National Hammock Day, July 22nd, I thought I'd talk a little bit about a new accessory I got for my hammock. A lot of you, especially those that have hammocks, probably are familiar with a carabiner or maybe even a Dutch clip. It attaches your webbing to the tree to allow for a quick disconnect so you can move it up and down or over branches or whatever you need to do. Now, you can always run your webbing through its own loop, but these two accessories just make it a little easier for adjustment after you're hung up. Recently, I found a company that someone actually recommended to me a couple months ago, but never looked into it till just now. Myers Hammock Tech. And they sell these things to replace both items that I just showed you. They're called Evo loops. So we're going to take a look at it today. So here's a continuous loop on the end of a webbing, and usually what you do is you would take this end, put it around a tree, and then you would attach a carabiner to it, and that would hold you to the tree just like that. Same thing with a Dutch clip. You would just take it around the tree and just hook your webbing in there. Now with this setup, you have to be careful because you can't make this hard angle. So you guys can see that hard angle. You'd actually have to put it on the other side of the tree so you could not put a lot of stress, number one, on the webbing, and then number two, on the clip. Now this is the Evo loop. So it's just a piece of continuous loop through am steel, and then they take the end and make what's called a button knot, and then they actually bury the end of the am steel inside of itself. So what does that mean? That means once you put tension on this line, this end is never coming out. It's not coming out anyway because there's a button knot on the end, but it just makes it a really strong anchor point. So you can see how I have this set up, and we'll go inside and I'll show you how to put this on your suspension if you're wondering, because it's really easy to do as long as you have a loop on the end of your webbing, which I'm sure you all do. So what we do with the Evo loop is we simply just put it around the tree again. We put the am steel over the webbing, and then we slide the button knot through this hole right here. Give it a good bend, and that's not going anywhere. Now the cool thing about this is you don't need to really worry about the placement. So you can have a hard angle. I don't recommend it. I recommend you just have the normal angle that you're used to. But you don't have to worry about that rough metal hardware wearing on your webbing. You can also take it off one-handed if you wish. So, I mean, it's really simple to use. It's not hard to install at all. And it goes up in a matter of seconds. And like I said, once there's tension on that button knot, it's not going anywhere. It can't go through there unless there's no way. If you put tension on it, you cannot put it through there. It has to be loose so you can open that knot up again. Now, am steel has a really, really high breaking strength. So you don't have to worry about this am steel failing on you. Obviously, check it for wear and tear before and after every camping trip. But this is what I'm going to be switching to. I just put it on my hammocks today, and I really, really like this setup. Anyway, let's go inside, and I'll show you how to put this on. So as far as setting this up on your own hammock, all you need is a piece of webbing with a loop sewn in onto the end, and obviously the Evo loop. So what we're going to do first is we're going to pass the loop end, not the button end, through the webbing loop, and we're going to simply lark's head it through itself. Then we're going to spread out the opposite end. So if you can see, let me show you real good. So you can see the Evo loop going through its own loop, and then on the other side you can see the two ends. You're going to open up both of these and make another lark's head through itself. That's where you put your button knot, right in this hole right here. So I'm going to show you that one more time. Okay, Evo loop, webbing. Take the loop end of the Evo loop, pass it through the webbing loop, and then pass the button knot through itself. It makes a lark's head, flip it over, and you're going to open up the Evo Loop's end and the loop on the other side and pass another lark's head through itself. And then you can pull that tight. That creates the area where you can then push the button knot through, and then it won't go anywhere, as you can see, once there's tension on it. And then to undo it, you just simply push that button knot through the loop, and there you go. So you guys can see what it's doing here. We're just passing this button knot through. So a couple advantages this has over a carabiner or even a Dutch clip, in my opinion. One, the Dutch clip has been great. I'm a big fan of Dutches. I have his continuous ridge line, I have his hookworms, I have a whole bunch of other stuff, and his stuff has been absolutely great. The only thing I worry about is when I'm, raveling all this stuff up and getting it ready to put back in my hammock sack. I worry about the rough edges, the metal parts of this, kind of catching the bug net of the hammock or the actual hammock itself and just puncturing it or tearing it, brazing it, whatever. With this, there's no rough edges, obviously, because it's just a piece of am steel. And even the tail end of this knot is buried in itself. So there's nothing being exposed here. It's just the am steel. I can just ravel this up and shove it in the stuff sack and not have to worry about anything at all. Another very, very small advantage that the Evo Loop has over even a Dutch clip is its weight. Now, we're talking grams here. We're talking 8 grams for one single Dutch clip, maybe 9 grams, versus 3 grams on the Evo Loop. So you can see there's some weight savings here as well. I definitely want to do some testing on this to make sure this is a good product. So far, my initial tests are pretty good. Am steel over time does abrase, which you need to be aware of. It takes a very, very long time for that to happen. And the way you set this up, this barely, if at all, ever touches the tree itself. Okay, it's always on the webbing because it pulls it into itself. So I don't see this getting abrased over a long, long period of time, but only true testing will tell with this. So those are my thoughts so far on the Myers Hammock Tech Evo Loop. Now, if you'd like to try these, a pair of these will run you $8 shipped to your house. He's a very, very small company right now. Actually, it's just the single guy. He's a retired military serviceman. And like I said, they're about $8 for a pair. He has multiple colors. You can get in contact with Myers Hammock Tech by finding him on Facebook and then shooting him a message. He'll then send you a PayPal address. And there's probably another way to contact him via his YouTube account. I'll link it in this suggested video and put him down in the video description. But yeah, so far, so good. I like the weight savings, even if it is minimal, but I like that I don't have to make that angle like I had to do on the Dutch clip to stop my webbing from fraying. So like I said, time will tell, but this looks like a pretty good product to me. So guys, thanks for joining me, and I hope this helps somebody.